Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back. This is Kathy with Galaxy Crafts. Hope everybody's doing okay. So we're starting another, well, my second and last Easter video for this year. If you can tell, I got a little toy chick and just going to throw this out there. I don't plan on selling it. I don't plan on selling the mold to it. It's just something I wanted to do for fun. Because you see molds of the bunnies and all that. Haven't seen one for this, so I wanted to see what it came out like. It came in a little kit where you can color it and then wash it off and recolor it. It's kind of fuzzy feeling. It's really soft. So I was quite intrigued on how this was going to turn out. So this one, I'm just making my mold housing, just using the Let's Resin mold casings that you clip together that almost everybody has now that makes molds and does this sort of thing. And if you don't, you probably have seen it on a dozen other channels. The tape, I can't remember what it's called. It's some kind of like aluminum, like an air conditioning duct tape, not just regular duct tape, obviously, like you know, get at Walmart or wherever and anywhere else. It is really sticky, and I was actually really happy that this worked out because I didn't get any leaks with it. I was hoping for that because I didn't really didn't really know what I was going to do because I was in a hurry to try to get these out. I'm a couple days behind with this. I'm actually recording this voiceover and doing the editing Saturday before Easter. So it will go out tonight, and so that way we'll have one out for tomorrow. So I don't know how often I'm going to be able to get videos out. It's probably been almost a year since I've done a video prior to the one I just put out earlier this week. I don't think I'll get around to doing two a week for sure, but I'm going to try to do at least one a week. I've got a better setup and I need to get a better camera setup, but that's going to have to come with time. So, and here I'm just mixing the silicone. It's actually like a 0A hardness, so it's really soft. It is from Let's Resin, and I know it says to mix it by volume, or by weight, I mean. When I first started making molds, I had not paid attention to that and thought, oh, it's Let's Resin, it's just like theirs, so you mix it by volume, just like the resin. Come to find out later on, that's not the case, but it still works just fine. So I haven't ever had a problem mixing it by volume versus weight. Just so you know, I'm not saying to ignore the directions. I'm just saying for me, I have yet to have an experience where it didn't work right. So, so I'm just waiting a minute to make sure it's not leaking out the sides before I continue with this. So that's why there's a pause there. And of course I grabbed my little mini flimsy cutting board, but it's great for transferring things from point A to point B, since I have to move everything out of my workspace over to my side table to let it cure. Now those are just some resin rods basically that I had made from another mold. I was trying to take up some space, but I found that they were just too big for this little area, so I just ditched that idea. So getting as much of the silicone back off of there as I can, and just getting it filled back up. So anyways, I hope you guys are going to have a good Easter. Don't know what your plans are. I got to cook dinner for the family. My brothers and their families are coming over, so I'm gonna have that much fun to do this evening. All right, now I'm sitting at work doing this. Shh, don't tell my boss. He won't care. But anyways, so this is just pouring that leftover. This is way back when I attempted to make my own like crystal druzy mold insert thing. So it's basically just a bunch of crushed mirror pieces that I got from probably Michael's. It's, you know, the vase filler, but it's the crushed mirror glass pieces that are shiny. And I just resined them into the shape. And now everything's cured up. So we're going to go ahead and get those taken care of. I did speed things up in different pieces. That was a hole I was picking at that came out of the, ended up in the silicone, but some of it I cut out because I didn't think you wanted to sit there and watch me for 10 minutes trying to mess with getting an edge up or whatever. So, but I did speed some of this up, slowed it back down because I don't know about you, but I think it's satisfying to watch it coming out of these druzy molds, this, the way it pulls out. And of course, there's some extra glass that's loose, and that's to be expected. So. And then, of course, as you can see, there's a bunch of little pieces stuck in there. And yes, I don't know how long picking that out, but I did cut a lot of that out. I did speed this up too, so that you don't have to sit here and watch me just pick at glass. And there's one part where it came after I got done with this. You'll see it here coming up. I started trying to pick the extra silicone from previous castings and whatnot out of that, and I just cut it all out. So we're going to get this one unmolded, the star of the show. So, of course, this is sped up for you as well, so because it does take a couple minutes to get all that tape and everything off of there. For anybody who hasn't used these, I really like these mold housings. It does leak a little bit into the cracks in between them, so I do clean that up a little bit and cut it off. The one thing I did notice about that tape I used is it did leave the top of the mold sticky. Unfortunately, that does happen, but it's nice to not have it leaking everywhere. So it's kind of a toss-up. I haven't experimented with using alcohol or anything to try to clean that off yet. Like I said, I just did this the last several days and just wanted to get this done. So we'll get that out, and that silicone is so soft. That thing came out so easy. I even dropped it. So I was really pleased with how the edges came out on that as well, because usually I have a lot of underflow or overflow, whatever you want to call it, that I have to trim off, but that one was almost near perfect. So it's, yeah, I was so far pleased with how that came out. Of course, you know, you got to wait time before it, you know, full 24 hours before you use it. You can't just wait till it's cured after 6 hours and use them. You can, but they don't come out as well. So, coming up, you'll hear the interactions. My daughter picked the colors for this, and she thought she was picking a turquoise, but it was the Florentine. It was a green stone color. Can't remember the name off the top of my head, and of course I can't even begin to read that, so. But I left it in because I thought it was a cute little interaction. Did you mean for this to be kind of a green color? It's not really tealish. Can you see that? Well, it looks like it is. Grab me a blue. Yeah, just a blue. Oh, are you okay? Yeah. Chair. So the blue probably should have been a little darker, but it was late at night and I didn't care. I wanted to get this done. So this I did speed up quite a bit because it took a few tries and a lot of liquid to get it even remotely away from the green. So still didn't come out quite the color I think she was looking for, but at the same time, it still ended up okay. So we're just trying to get it more of a teal color instead of a green. So that's originally what she was going for, because she saw the label and thought, oh, that's what the color that is, and it was not that color. So, and I have used this one before, but I completely forgot how green it was. So yeah. So I'm just spraying some alcohol in there, just to help with any additional bubbles. So I'm just getting that poured, squishing it around because it does have that little hook for the nose on there. So I wanted to make sure that it didn't miss any parts. So I'm using a micro stick or a micro brush, and I'll poke that in there too, because that does help. Sometimes I think it introduces more bubbles than it helps with, but if you've got a little crevice or a cavity in the molds that, you know, doesn't let the air out, it does help get the resin down in there. So, and of course the easy thing, we'll just top this up and get the edges, because it does have a little indent around there. So you want to make sure you get into that part. And of course I wanted to make sure it was domed just to see how that made it turn out. I think I did get a little too much in that, because obviously I'm taking some out, but sometimes that will leak out, and I didn't want that to happen either. So spray a little alcohol to help pop any extra bubbles, and move it to the heating mat, and like magic, maybe, here we go. Like my little Easter eggs. I tried to find stuff like that on my last video, and they didn't have anything. I couldn't find anything, but anyways, so it's cured. I put it on the heating mat overnight because, like I said, it was later at night, and pulled it out. Just as a reminder, there's the original that I made the casting of, and it is still sticky. That resin, or that silicone, did not help that any. And of course, here I am dropping things again. I was really, really happy with the way that turned out. It actually has the texture to it, so it feels like the sugar that's on it. So I was really happy with that. And of course I decided to put some eyeballs on it, but they didn't show up very good. And I was just kind of messing around at this point, so just to see what it was like, because I believe I did this in the morning before I had to go to work. So then I switch gears here in a minute and it'll show you. See, I was going to start doing something there, and then I decided, no, I'm going to wait. I don't have time for that. So there's a little bit of a close-up of the two side by side. I think it turned out really cute. I was really pleased with that mold and the way the casting came out. So this is a new bottle. The previous video I was using clear Gorilla Glue, and yeah, it was great, but it was gel, like sticky, like I think it was drying out. And so I bought it's Gem Tack to use because it's a liquid, so I almost think I prefer the Gorilla Glue better, but because it was drying out, it's kind of more of a pain to use because, yeah. So then I noticed, you know, it didn't even occur to me that it was white until after I put it on there, and I was like, oh, I hope this is going to dry clear. I was a little concerned about that, but I believe it did. It did dry clear, so I did try to get as much off as I could. You'll see that later on, I think. But simply because I didn't want to have big white blotches on there. Although it wouldn't look too bad, really. Typical eyes have white in them. I don't think duck eyes do, though. Or chicks or chickens or whatever those are supposed to actually be. I didn't do too much to this one. In fact, this is the first time I've ever done something like this to my pieces, is this week when I did the bunnies in the previous video and this one. So I just give him a little sparkle on its tail and some sparkle eyes, and that's about the extent of it. So I thought it turned out really cute. There's definitely some spots where there was some, you know, bubbles from the silicone, and then of course it was definitely textured. So here's a few pictures. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have a great Easter. Thanks, everybody.